we decided to develop the criteria for ideal irrigation architecture. Of course, with farmers, we do all our work with farmers, right? And all those people were having drip system and were facing severe losses. The issue they identified, the solution they gave is what went on our minds to develop SWAT. High water wastage in drip due to evaporation in summer. With heat waves, this is also rising. Farmer is not sure of root zone moisture and therefore over applies water, leading to excess water application. What is the solution? Subsurface root zone water delivery, wherein you measure not the quantum of water delivered, but the moisture, its intensity and its spread. When you apply with water and subsequently, I'm thinking the game is to change from measuring water to measuring moisture. Although they are all more connected, but the fact is that world over you have literature and knowledge of how much water is required to a plant based on soil, life cycle, etc. But nowhere do we know what is the moisture, because if the measure is changed, it will have a multiplier impact on the nature of our farming systems is by 3. So the next is that as trees grow, when the farmer does a bore well or an open well, this has led to poor crop quality, high plant mortality, etc. So what the farmers and we agree is that we must use 50% less water. And when I say 50% less water, I mean compared to scientists' recommendation of drip. That's the goalpost. Offer possibly a higher yield, and more importantly, to ration water. That is, you just keep the place moist so that the trees, which are at its peak yield age, can survive in summer and can recoup in monsoon. That's something which the irrigation architecture and water usage or moisture should be thought of. Drip logic of field capacities, as I told you earlier, is ideal for chemical fertilizers and nutrients. Therefore, you see that immediately after you apply fertilizers, huge dosage of water is being done. Whereas measured subsoil moisture is a rich ecosystem to foster native and biodiverse living organisms in the soil. Now I'm coming to the soil part of it, which works very, very intimately with water that we apply, right? So how do I get to measured subsoil moisture? Measured subsoil moisture, as I told you, there is nothing called how much moisture is required. So we use something called the KC values, where we convert through a software program that we develop data on application of water recommended by ICAR for different species, convert it into KC values, and then see, and because that is the basis on which we measure the moisture and see whether it is adequate or not. That's the thing, and it's also, I find that a moisture regime is a rich ecosystem for microbes. A water regime is a rich ecosystem for industrial chemicals, especially petrochemicals. Drip also does not work if water supply is intermittent. You know that's a big problem because of the yield comes down. They have to keep on, the water stops, etc. This is a big problem. So it should be possible to have gravity flow from an overhead tank, etc., and be able to calibrate this intermittent problem that the farmer is facing. We have tried to tackle that and have had modest success. And of course, purchase is by government because of the government subsidy, although a lot of industries are buying it on their own, but it's a government subsidy. Whereas what we should do is to have it as an affordable add-on to existing drip. So what does SWAR deliver? System of water for agriculture rejuvenation, whose architecture criteria listed earlier. What does it do? SWAR is a moisture diffuser embedded in the plant root zone. We study different plants, their root zone, their requirements of irrigation, etc., and we embed them there. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could even be 4 pieces. In coconut, we go for 4, right? Okay, that's what we do. A dripper connects the drip lateral to send water via a microtube into a uniquely designed box. That box has been designed with a lot of computer-aided designing that we have to be able to see most effective outcome of moisture spread. and it contains granular cut size quartz. Because why? We don't want hairy roots to infiltrate. That's the reason why all irrigation systems are surface, despite all the claims that are being done. Right? Root zone moisture can be captured by a portable moisture probe that we have. The farmer can buy it. It's about 1,400 rupees. They can share it within themselves, because the idea of knowing the root zone moisture and the drainage and the spread is to work out your schedule of irrigation and the quantity to be done. So if you do it over a year or so, you are able to calibrate it to the kind of things that is required. So what do we deliver? What does one aim to deliver? Moisture at the root zone to save water. A very clear saving of 42% will happen if you just deliver it at the root zone automatically. Leave alone the soil part, just wherever, right? And I'll give you the data of all the studies that have been done. Measured, it should be measured, as I told you about the Kc values being used, so that you minimize water application. You have to minimize water application or optimize. The better word would be to optimize water application based on the soil and the crop life cycle and the season. The other important part is the microbe inoculants, right? That is very crucial for efficient plant use of soil moisture and soil health, right? We have developed some inoculants and they are made in situ at the farmer's place, and I'll explain to you more as we go along with life. But then what are we doing? We are saving, we are optimizing, and then we are making it efficient. And the efficiency cannot come from our science. It has to come from the microbes that are part of the ecosystem within the soil, to able to aerate, to be able to provide all the nutrients that the plant requires, and to be able to spread the water or moisture in the way in which we want. The other thing, which is also an inoculum that we guide farmers to make, is the mycorrhizae for effective root moisture absorption with root spread. The entire game of the farmer is to increase the yield and the quality of the yield. So therefore, the mycorrhizae is to strengthen the microbes, to strengthen the soil, the mycorrhizae to improve the roots. And now we are also collaborating with Dr. M.S. Swaminathan Foundation and the University of Iowa in the US on further improving the fungi part of the inoculums that we are preparing. Most importantly is management ease with moisture database decision. What I'm saying is that the farmer is over applying water because he doesn't have confidence. And the way to bring about farmer confidence is to provide them with data of the moisture at different times, at different levels within the subsoil region. Once they know it, they're confident. This can also be automated at a higher expense, and you can get it through remote. But we work with small and marginal farms, and we find that this probe, which is electrical conductivity, is a good indicator of that. So on the right side, you will see how we embed it at the root zone, right? This is in jasmine plantation. And on the right side, you'll see how the biological inoculums are prepared in situ. We are keen that the biological inoculums must be locally prepared because there's a big threat of invasive ones coming in. I find that a lot of companies are now coming up with saying, we'll give you this inoculum, that inoculum, etc., of a single bacteria, or right? I think they cannot be extended anywhere and everywhere. This is going to be a big problem. Like we've had invasive species in trees and shrubs, we are going to have it in the subsoil area. And if you have it in the subsoil area, there's nothing you can do to unwind it. So I think we have to be very cautious that in our greed for productivity yield, we do understand that sustainability is a very important aspect to be kept in mind.